Imagine trying to promote well-being as a founder, but then accidentally promoting hustle culture. And doing this so much that you show up on your Zoom meetings in a hyperbaric chamber. And then imagine that you proceed to putting this on LinkedIn as some kind of inspirational thing for founders, but actually, instead of people getting inspired by it, most of LinkedIn turn around and just parody your post because it's just so utterly ridiculous. This week has been strange, to say the least. I've actually spent most of this week in Dubai, which has been beautiful weather compared to here in London now, where I'm back. But actually, it's made me see things in a very, very different light, which I'm going to talk about in a minute. And so I'm going to cover about those lessons that I've learned this week from Dubai, and also the ridiculous bullshit of the week that LinkedIn has really decided for me. So stay tuned. As I said, I spent most of this week in Dubai, and it was 29 degrees of glorious sunshine, and my reason for going out was because I was going to a wedding. It is the wedding of a friend / client / chess student, and it was an absolutely stunningly beautiful wedding. But that wasn't the big takeaway. Obviously, I could talk about the wedding, but that's not what I learned about business. I was definitely switched off during that wedding, which was great. But what made me think about is all the people who go to Dubai or pretend to go to Dubai and flash that sort of lifestyle, and you see so much of it on Instagram and X and LinkedIn, and they're just showing off this Dubai lifestyle, driving their Lambos, having all their fancy designer bags, and just having this ridiculous lifestyle that looks like you are an absolute king, and people should all aspire to be like you because you have this lifestyle. Well, what I realised is that while looking around and being in Dubai, there was less of this than I expected. There were definitely some Lambos around, and obviously some people have rented them, some people actually own them, but you do see a lot of nice cars on the street, and then random people just sitting on them and posing with them and getting their friends to do loads of photo shoots with their car, which inevitably they're going to put on social media and pretend they own. And it is kind of crazy. People would have different outfits that they bring, and they go to different cars, and God knows what they're doing with them. It's utterly silly. So there is some of that. But actually, what I realise is just how many happy expats there are out there. Loads of people who've gone out there for business and just to have a better lifestyle. For me, it wasn't about the flashiness and showing off your wealth, but actually it was the opposite. It was just about living really comfortably and happily and not needing to show off, because all the stuff we hear in the media about Dubai and you can get into trouble as a couple and things like that, there's a lot of negativity, but it's not quite like that when you're out there. And I think basically what I've noticed about Dubai is that people just want to have a nice life and they don't want to be disturbed. So actually all those things is that just if you keep yourself to yourself, then you'll be absolutely fine. And so when I spoke to loads of founders out there, they just really enjoy their lifestyle. They enjoy the fact that the place is so clean. Honestly, it's just so pretty out there. Everything's clean, which is ironic because they don't pay tax. And so we actually went to this public park, and you have to pay to go in, which is $5, which is basically £1.25 or something. And it's you go in and it's just pristine, and it's so different out there. And what I've realised when I speak to these founders is that they obviously get paid more because they get to keep everything because there's no tax, but they get more respected. People work harder, people respect people more. Even when we were getting Ubers, they would drive all the way up to our hotel lobby and drop us off through car park up to the destination every single time. In London, when I'm getting an Uber, they make me walk 7 minutes because they can't bother to drive up that far, and then they get annoyed. They go, "You come to me," or they just cancel it and go somewhere else. It's a totally different vibe. And speaking to an Uber driver, he was saying that he earns the equivalent of £25,000 per month as an Uber driver. And I think he does a few other things, but they work really hard. There doesn't seem to be any scrimping in work ethic. And everyone was so nice and so helpful there. There was no job too big for people in customer service, and everyone was super pleasant and just so nice. Even when we were at dinner and I asked the waiter to take a photo of us, he didn't just proceed to take one photo. He was like, the light's not great over here. Come over by the pool. Started shining the lights on us. He did a whole full photo shoot in different angles for us. We just said, can we have a photo at dinner? People go above and beyond, and it's not a chore. They're not looking for tips. It's just how they are. and they've got this really big respect for each other and themselves, and I just really like that culture. So I totally get why people want to go out there. And sure, you've got like this, what people think is a glamorous lifestyle. The weather is certainly better. You actually get more bang for your buck out there. It's not as expensive as I thought it would be. London is actually way more expensive. So I totally get it. And it made me really realise like how different it is and how I want to find more people like that over here. And whilst I can't see myself moving over to Dubai, I would love to find that sort of attitude in the UK, because not everyone is lazy or has that sort of culture. Like, you know, there's a lot of amazing people out there, which is what I'm trying to find. But it's made me realise that, you know, there is a big difference in culture. And I just love being around people who want quality, want to work hard, are willing to put the effort into it. And those are my people, and I'm going to try and find them here in London. So something else I've learned this week is that people are still so obsessed with vanity metrics. I don't even know where to begin, because even though I've tried to explain that, you know, vanity metrics don't actually help them build their business, they're still obsessed with it. They will still tell me that it is worth it. Now, I did a video a couple of days ago, you should totally check it out, about vanity metrics, and I'll put the link in the show notes again. And I talked about that on social media, and I referenced a video, and a lot of people justify it. And they're saying, well, actually, if I get more views on a video, then it means that my content's good. And if I get more followers, it means that like I'm saying the right thing and I'm growing more popular. And I'm like, so what does popularity mean? And you know, if people watch your video but they're not interacting and they're not buying from you, does that mean your content's good, or does it actually mean your content's bad? Because actually, if you make really good content, it should be engaging and people should want to talk to you and want to speak to you about it or want to interact with it. So for me, I actually prefer fewer views but more engaged people. That would mean to me that that's actually better. But people are so obsessed with this, and I've had so many countless conversations with people saying, oh, this person's got X amount of followers, it means they must be good at this. And people are putting such weight to these vanity metrics, which is what is causing so many people to fake it. People are still buying followers like it was 2010, and they're still like faking engagement. They're joining in pods, and they're just you know, manipulating numbers and saying all these things, because there is this weird thing with people believing that more followers you got, the more popular you are, means the better you are at what you do. And I think that this won't change, is what I've realised, is that there are going to be so many people who are still like that. But thank goodness there are lots of people who are fed up of that and don't believe that vanity metrics are the future. And actually, if you want to make money in business, you have to be concentrating on the people who actually genuinely engage with your content and are there for you. And actually, I'd rather concentrate on just a few. Like I said before, I managed to win a client with 29 views on my video. It didn't go viral. I've never gone viral. And I had hardly any views, but at least one of those 29 people was the ICP, my ideal customer profile. And so that's who I'm concentrating on, and I will continue to hammer home that message and find people who also believe that vanity metrics are just a distraction. And actually it soaks up so much energy and time, and you're focusing all those efforts on something that's actually completely misleading. So I'm not here to say that vanity metrics are not important again. I do not need to do another video on that. But I'm here to realise that people will always find it important. That's because people have different definitions of success. So you need to define your own success and what that looks like. And for me, it's about building a legitimate business with legitimate relationships that are meaningful and supportive. And I'm here to find those kind of people. And that doesn't mean I need to go viral. It doesn't mean I need to have even thousands of views or hundreds of views. I just need to find a good group of people who want to support me grow and want me to support them grow. And I think that would be really, really meaningful. So this week's bullshit of the week is really interesting because the post was pretty ridiculous, but it was actually everyone else's reaction to the post that made it to the bullshit of the week for me. So I'd say a celebrity founder, I'm going to call him that because he's very well known in the UK at least, and he's got another celebrity girlfriend or fiance as well, so they're very well known in the media. And he took to LinkedIn to say that he's taking his wellness very seriously as a founder. And I'm like, okay, great, that's a good message to have. And so he said that he takes his wellness so seriously that sometimes he takes calls in his ice bath or in the sauna. And actually, he put a picture up of him on Zoom in a hyperbaric chamber. So he had this mask on and then big pipes coming out the side. And said, even if it makes me look like a Bond villain, which really pissed me off because he didn't look like a Bond villain. He looked like Bane from Batman.
It doesn't matter who we are. What matters is our plan.
So he got the wrong bloody movie, even when he was trying to make a funny joke of it. But it was actually like the look on those people's faces on Zoom. If you zoom in onto their Zoom faces, they are all cringing and dying. I'm like, if you turn up like that on Zoom, how do people take you seriously? Do they think that, oh, this guy's taking care of his health? Because to me, that's not wellness at all. The ice bath, I've done ice baths, and I'm not a big ice bath queen, king, whatever you want to call it, obsessed with them. But like one of my friends who does run a wellness retreat, she got me into them, and actually I felt amazing after them. But what I think I really like about it is that those 5 minutes are for you to get out of your own head, to not think about anything else, and to just clear your mind. And your mind is so clear because of the bloody cold that it's just an amazing experience. And same with the sauna. Oh my God, I can't stand it if someone else is on the phone in the sauna. And also, but it's like, for me, taking calls while in an ice bath and on the sauna seems like the opposite of wellness. And it's like, surely you should be taking your time out to relax your brain and not to do work when you're in those situations. So you can't be taking your wellness that seriously if you feel compelled to take a Zoom call while you're doing it. And also, it just screams to me disorganized founder, because if you cannot manage your diary well enough that you can have 5 minutes out in a sauna without taking a call, then how much of a shambles is your business? And what was surprising is the amount of wellness people like commenting and sharing this post about how dedicated it is and how great it is, and no one else is realizing that this is actually terrible for your health. And I was like, what is going on? This is such bullshit. And I think it just shows you that people just see things and absorb it, and they don't really see the real message behind it. But then there was this whole uproar with a bunch of other people who just couldn't stand it because they thought it was ridiculous. And they also parodying it. And then I think this is what made me think it's bullshit, because my feed was just covered with these parodies of this post, and the parodies were awful and they weren't funny, and the joke lasted for days, and I was just like, oh my God, this is not funny. And again, wellness people who think that they were adding their 2 cents to it, it got really silly. But I just wanted to call this out as bullshit of the week, because first of all, wellness is important. I think that it's overdone and over glamorized. Taking calls while you're doing well-being, is that work-life balance? No. I think that shows you that you're doing something wrong if you're combining the two. And the fact that so many people are agreeing with this blindly because this guy is a successful founder doesn't mean that every single thing this person does is a good thing to do. I think this is where the problem is with influence, is that like just because someone's had an exit of their business, so just because someone's made a best-selling book or something like that, doesn't mean that everything they've done up to that point is a good thing to do and contributed to their success, or is even good for you to do. Even if something did contribute to their success, it doesn't mean it's going to work for you. So I think that this is where I struggle with the influence, because people just blindly seeing this stuff and think it's a good idea. So if I ever come onto a Zoom and I see someone in their ice bath or with that silly mask on, then I'm just logging off, because it's ridiculous. I hope that you've enjoyed this week's lessons of the week and bullshit of the week, and I will see you guys next week.